Today we're doing long exposures with the Nikon Z6. Today we're doing 3 very different long exposures to show movement and flow in a photo. First, we are just north of Los Angeles in California with the 24-70 f4 Nikon Z lens. While this lens is technically the kit lens that comes with the Z6, performance-wise, it is so far beyond any kit lens we've ever seen. In fact, we've filmed the majority of season 1 of this show on this lens. With me, I also have a 10-stop neutral density filter. I use a neutral density filter, an ND filter, to block out enough light so I'm able to do a 5 or 10 second exposure outside in the middle of the day, and I can get that nice soft water. So we're out here this morning doing some long exposures. The waves are really starting to come in, and pretty much what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be shooting straight down here at the rocks, and I'm going to be doing maybe a 5-second shutter speed so the rocks are still a little bit in focus and you get some of that water movement. I'm setting this up like this here, and I have a 10-stop ND on the 24-70, and I'm going to activate a 2-second timer. So as you can see, if a wave like that rolls in, the frame is pretty much completely white. What you want is just a little bit of water kind of coming into the rocks to give a little bit of that illusion of movement. That's how you do a simple long exposure at the ocean of some rocks with the 24-70 f4 for your Nikon Z6. Next, we're headed to Iceland to get that quintessential waterfall shot. I have the 14-30 millimeter lens on my Nikon Z6 with a 10-stop ND. Let's go take some photos, and I'm going to be trying to do a 10-second exposure. The 14-30 super wide angle for the Z series is one of my top recommendations for landscapes. I don't normally like to clog up a pathway for other tourists, but today it's not very busy here. So I'm going to set this down quickly, and I'm going to try a few exposures here before more people show up. This is an 8-second exposure, f4, 100 ISO with a 10-stop neutral density filter on the waterfall. All right, so that's starting to look really good, but compositionally, I feel like a vertical subject should be photographed vertically, so we're going to turn the camera on its side here. I'm gonna do the exact same thing, just in a vertical frame. Well, I don't have any sort of protection on my camera for the elements. The mist is totally fine. If I was behind the waterfall, it would be a little bit more wet. What I would recommend though is just finding a good spot to change your lenses away from any sort of mist or water that could potentially get inside your camera body. To talk about this image for a second, there is a little bit of water on the front element of the lens or on my ND filter, as you can see, and I don't really mind that. It kind of adds almost to the ambience. I like to make my photos maybe not look as that they're just a stock image. I like to have some texture there. I feel like that adds to it. There is also a very strong vignette, the darkness kind of coming around the edges, and that is from shooting a super wide lens with an ND with a screw-on filter. So if you want to get rid of that vignette, if it's not something that feels right to you, I might recommend that you actually get the plated glass filters if you like to shoot super wide out in nature. Well, you could technically fix the vignette in post, it won't ever look exactly right. Now over to the city in Tokyo using the Nikon Z 50mm f1.8s prime for one last long exposure. Rather than using ND, I'm actually just increasing my f-stop this time. Get as close to the window as you can, and if you're seeing any reflection somewhere over here, get something to cover it, but I think we're okay. All right, 2-second self-timer, 30-second exposure, and here's the final image. There you have it, 3 long exposures on 3 different Nikon Z series lenses in 3 different countries. Don't forget to check out the Los Angeles episode of this show that came out on Monday if you haven't yet seen it.